Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. Okay, if you're gonna sit with me, bird, you gotta not be a dick face and bite me when I'm talking. You're rude. I kissed the bird, not you. You can pretend it was you if that makes you feel better, but it was my bird, so don't feel weird. Anyway, we're just continuing the common route. So, a bunch of people died in the last part. Thank God we didn't see it. Well, we saw the blood splatter and stuff like that, but okay, bird. One, you can't jab yourself under my chin and jam into my esophagus. And two, your toenails are like little fucking daggers. The birdie vet lied to me when he said all those different types of perches for you would help you keep your nails trimmed. He's a dirty, rotten liar. Because your nails are so fucking sharp. I could take you back to the birdie vet to get them trimmed. But, like, I just suffer with his dagger toes. So sharp. Anyway. Part of owning a bird. The dagger toes, the fact that you are a human napkin, there are crumbs and seeds all over your damn house. You have to vacuum your couch constantly because there will always be crumbs in the cushions. Just like when I'm eating, the bird demands food. He likes people food. Like if it's safe for him to eat, I give it to him, obviously. Like, so I'll give him a little piece, and then there's always crumbs behind her that fall down in the cushions. Like, it's like having a toddler. It really is having a toddler. Except for the fact that I can put him in the cage and, like, leave him for a couple hours and nobody's calling, any kind of protective services against me. Like, technically, if you like children and you want a toddler, I'd say get a bird. They're just as obnoxious as toddlers. They're actually cuddlier and cuter. He's my bird is anyway. Very snuggly. He's not very loud or screechy most of the time. That's a lie. At some point, he'll be downstairs and he'll make this ugly, ungodly shriek that I'll be like, I want to choke him when he does it. But if you be fair, that's way less than a toddler probably screams and cries, so. And again, I can leave him. And nobody gets mad at me. I'm sure bird people would get mad. Oh, you left him in a cage overnight by himself. He'll be fine. It's okay. Like, I don't like leaving him either, but he'll be okay, Anyway. The tragic night had come to a close, and a gentle morning light shone into my room. Each time the memories of what I saw flashed through my mind, my hand involuntarily rose to my mouth. Adolphe, who protected me last night, convened with his patrol unit after bringing me back, then returned to the scene to investigate what happened. Mother greeted us with a pale face when we arrived. She must have heard. Just as Milo finally started to settle down, I had come home covered in blood. I mean, that probably too. She's like, all of a sudden, she's like, oh, people are walking up the, oh my god, I could only imagine what went on in her mind. On top of that, Mother, I slowly took a peek outside the window. This has got to end, Sister Salome! We've been overlooking things all this time because of you, but we've had enough. Why in the world must we live in fear of that detestable girl when we've done nothing wrong? You exist. It's clearly wrong enough in the eyes of whatever God is looking onto this fucking country. Because he's taken all your lives at 23. He's like, no, you all suck. Destined to die at 23. I'm just saying. I don't think your God likes you very much. Because it's all of you. It's not like one person where you're like, well, that's a tragedy. It's like, it's everybody. Somebody hates you, is all I'm saying. If she's so bent on spreading misfortune, have her do it at some other orphanage. That's okay. All right, listen. Listen, lady. I could handle you hating me because you think I'm, like, deaf, okay? I get it, but you really are such a douchebag that you're like, I don't want her near me, go send her to some other people and let them deal with it. What a sea bag. Okay? Listen, I can almost handle it if you were like, why don't we just push her into the ocean or stab her? Like, okay. Like, that's awful, but, like, I can understand your reasoning. You want me away so other people stop suffering. But you just want to pawn your suffering off on other people, and that's just worse somehow. That's just worse. What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Hating me and wanting to, like, hurt me or put me out of all your misery makes... I can understand that logic. It's douchey, but, like, I understand that, okay? But that you just want to pawn me off on some other poor fucking people who are then going to suffer. Like, that's... jackass. You know what, lady? Pox on you! If I have magic curse powers, she's getting it next. This is why the universe would never give me magic curse powers, because I would be wielding them left and right and flinging hexes at people. All I'm saying. Mother was surrounded by a group of angry people venting their frustrations. I can already see how this is going to go. I'm going to be like, I have no sympathy for you, Spacey. Hex these motherfuckers! Don't feel sorry for yourself. Murder them all! Oh, God. It's been a few hours since the incident. Despite the short time that had elapsed, even the newspapers had published an article about my involvement without verifying the facts. Yeah, that's kind of awful. It was bad timing on our part. I somehow held back the urge to run out to her aid. If we had never left, even if, say we had never found that incident, we just kept walking, whatever, they still would have blamed us and we would have been like, I wasn't even there. It doesn't matter, you did it! This is only just pouring fuel on their fucking fire that they're trying to burn me on, you know? And to be fair, that would have made more sense. Again, stupid douchey lady. If you were lighting the fire to burn me on, that makes more sense, but instead you're like, let's burn the other orphans. Like, no, rude. After all, that would only make matters worse. Before Adolphe went out with his patrol unit, he told me very sternly to stay put in my room until things settled down. I do like that our boyfriends that we're probably going to end up inevitably killing, because this game, you know, all believe in us, sorta, you know? Like, Lucas is like, it's not your fault I'm coughing. Like, seriously, you're fine. Okay. Adolphe's like, you didn't fucking murder anyone. Eve's over there like, I love these flowers and you know, because might be a little crazy. Mathis was over there like being like, I feel sorry for her. We have no idea what's going on with Anko because we haven't seen it. You know? Was that all of them? Oh, and Science. Science just too busy looking at himself and his tramp stamp. I'm just assuming his reliver stamp is a tramp stamp. I swear to God, if the game says otherwise, I'm gonna be mad. 0 out of 10. Cyan deserves a tramp stamp, okay? Anyway. You have to know by now she's really death and a true menace to us all. Just kick her out of your orphanage and let her die somewhere far away from us. Okay, see, that's awful, but makes sense for him to think. I will have to ask you all to leave. I do not believe she's in any way involved in what happened. I must also state that from the very first day she arrived at this orphanage, not once have I seen misfortune occur because of her. Mother remained graceful and resolute in the face of their accusations. After a moment of disbelief, the crowd began to counter her statement when... I'm assuming it's Adolphe, but they put question marks. Like as if we never met the character? Alright, anyway, someone is saying, hey, sorry guys, you mind letting us through here? Okay. You all sure love crowding together, don't you? Surprised you've left enough room around you to breathe. 2 people somehow forced their way through the crowd. Among them was the man in the licorice field. Okay, so I'm guessing it would be the question mark was Eve because we don't know who he is. But anyway, nice to see how lively things are this morning. Everyone in Coen is so full of spirit. Oh, he's a little sarcastic. Oh, this is one of the little side pieces. Look at you, sir. What do you remind me of? You remind me of a character in an anime. I can't place it right now. You know, you also have a little Yamazaki going on from Hakuoki. It's the hair. But it's better. You know what I mean? Like, Yamazaki was such a good character, but his hair was horrible. You know, and you're like, but this is like the slightly better hair version. You're like, you could just, the bangs swept us a little bit more in your face, just a little bit more, so you don't almost look like you got baby bangs going on. Just mess it up a little bit more, but it's like still way better. You know what I mean? Getting there anyway. It's sometimes a little too full of spirit. Oh. Oh, right, because they said Karun or Karune. We'll go with Karun. You know it. When they mentioned at the market, a couple parts ago, the beginning, oh, Eve, whatever, and the two guys from it, so Hugo is the other one. Okay. Even Hugo of Karun, I'm gonna go with Karun, I don't know. What business do you two have here? I want to always slip into the wrong voice for him, because he doesn't, to me, like, we're gonna get used to the accent, but the accent doesn't exactly work for him. But everybody can't have, like, soft boy voice, but that's kind of like, well, Scion, I think, works for his voice. Adelphi works, but, like, everybody else seems to have, like, he looks like he'd have the soft, delicate voice, too. But, like, that's Lucas, and Mathis kind of, sort of, almost has, everybody can't have that voice. You know what I mean? But, like, my brain wants to slip into it. Because, like, I don't think the accent works for him necessarily, but we gotta work with the few voices we have and the too many characters, and you know what I mean? Like, the quintessential voices we came up with were because they match these characters, like, that's it. And then I expect to have these 5 voice tropes, basically, for me, and, like, that's just sometimes you're like, now we have more characters, so we gotta deal with it, and sometimes we're like, I don't have a bro dude. Like, I can't give Eve this voice, it just doesn't work for him. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's got the Impy voice. Nobody's got that voice. But you can't have, like, 6 soft boys. I don't have enough versions. Because, again, they probably all sound the same, to be fair. But anyway. So, Eve, I'm going to mess up a lot until I get used to doing the accent for him. But anyway. Also, I don't know what it is with my voice lately, guys. I don't know. I'm broken. Any business at all. Today's some work for the orphanage requiring 2 handymen. Isn't that right, Sister Salome? We were supposed to be here today. I believe that's what Adolphe said when he informed us of your request. Why, yes! I was hoping you two would come and repair some damaged furniture. You heard her. The rest of you, scram. Oh my god. Look at Hugo. Look at you. Look at those vibrant turquoise eyes. Again, it's the slightly baby bangs. If they were a little bit longer, I'd be 100% down. I'm like at 95 with you. Like, I like Hugo, I think, but the baby bangs is kind of, no. They need to be a little bit longer. Give them like another inch. Bring them from where they are about halfway down, like another half, you know what I mean? They don't have to be overlapping his eyebrows, but just bring them down a little, you know what I mean? Midway between where they are and the eyebrows, just a little bit more. The baby bang kind of thing always bothers. I don't like it. I don't like it. I know some people do, but I'm not a fan of it, and it's definitely not good when they do anime boy hair like that. I don't want some petty squabble getting in the way of work that needs doing. Petty squabble? Hey, you two are members of the Corps, right? Then you guys must know that what the Reaper did last night back at the... What did you say? Do you know anything, Eve? No, I'm afraid not. All I know is that a bunch of bodies were discovered in a back alley last night. There wasn't a single mention in the report about this Reaper being involved. Huh? You've got to be kidding! You're actually on her side too? Again, I love it. Ah! And Hugo's winking at us. Why? You know what? Alright, I'm down with the side characters here. Because we had hotness with Mathis, and then we got Hugo, like... Again, Hugo, you're like 90... The hair needs to be a little bit better. But I'll give you a pass because you're still beautiful, even with your hair being slightly wrong. It's slightly wrong. It could be way worse, but it could be better. You know what I mean? It could be slightly better. Anyway. But I like him winking. And I also like his mad face. It's going to be another one of those games where I love the side characters. You're going to kill them all off, aren't you, game? Oh, dear God. There is a fan disc for this, isn't there? I don't think I can handle that. One of the men pointed his finger at the young masked man named Eve. You were at the fire 7 years ago, weren't you? You yourself are the victim of the misfortune caused by the Reaper. He was right. I realized it too. Eve stayed quiet for a few seconds as I watched him with certainty. He then took a step forward. I'm not a victim at all. It was coincidence. Nothing more. I was there with her at the scene of the fire. That's all it was. I'm sorry, I love this pose of his, the little dramatic hand behind the head. So adorable. I've been saying the same thing for years now. I suppose it means that no one believes me. If that's the case, it's a shame. His little sad face is so beautiful. Stop. No, that's not what I meant. Seeing his sad expression, the people who were seething moments ago took a step back. Fine, I get it. You guys are always around to help us, so I guess we can let her go this time. I love that. It's a subtle, like, wow, you think I'm lying? I might have to just not help you anymore. He didn't say it. He didn't have to say it. The people were like, oh, well, if then he won't help us, so maybe, oh my god. Look at that, you master manipulator. Like, you just knew. Oh, damn. I like the fact, not gonna lie, that, like, you can see the strap over his head for his mask. And I'm assuming, like, obviously there's a tie for his hair, but the other one might also be a tie for the mask, because you can see the black kind of color. And then there's, like, a bluish one that's probably his hair, but, like, I like the detail that you have, like, the little mask strap kind of going under his hair. They didn't have to do that, you know? But the court better investigate the matter thoroughly, you hear? Well, that's a given. We'll do our very best. Yes, we'll get Karun. I'm going to say Karun. Karun? I don't know. Anyway, open again once things settle down. So feel free to come to us for any help you need. It was clear the level of regard the people had for him by how compliantly they left the premises. Jesus. I can't words. So, tell me, was that acting or was it real? A bit of both, I'd say. It's a real shame not to be believed after all this time, but I knew that saying so would get them to leave more quickly. Boy, you're no different from a con artist. Okay, we gotta adjust Hugo because he sounded like a doll. Okay, whatever. Because Hugo also doesn't look like he'd have this voice. We could do it, but he doesn't look like that. You know what I mean? I looked on from the window and awed how swiftly he diffused the situation. Noticing my presence once again, Eve looked at me in the window and happily waved at me. Because to be fair, I feel like in my brain the bedrooms are on like the second floor or something, but when you look at the building, it's only one floor, so. Adolphe returned from work around the time that the crowd dispersed. Oh, thank you very much for saving Mother earlier. Please, have some tea. I carefully lined the cups of tea in front of our guests. Hugo's pose is so, like, fucking ridiculous. Like, Eve's pose, just standing there, arms crossed, looking all happy, but him over there, like, dramatic hand to my forehead. It looks like he's about to tip his fucking hat to you, but he's not even wearing a hat. He looks ridiculous. I love it. Oh, it smells so good. And the color's beautiful, too. Did you brew it yourself? Yes. I'd only done so because Adolphe told me to. I still wasn't sure why he'd asked me to brew the tea. It was poor thanks to serve them tea that I made, after all the good they'd done for us. Oh well, if you don't mind. Huh? As if there was nothing unusual to it, Eve quickly drank the tea without hesitation. Delicious. Unbelievable. I bet if I tried brewing a cup with the same leaves, it'd turn out bitter. So, how'd you do it? I heard there's a specific amount of time and leaves to steep for great tea. Did Sister Salome teach you? Look at you being all nice asking me questions. Not being so handsome and adorable. Yes. She taught me the basics of housework and etiquette. I know how to read, and I know what the word etiquette is. I don't know why my brain... I told you I'm not doing good, okay? And you know I bulk record, so it's going to take a long time. One, I'm pretty sure, like, we're probably going to have at least 6, 7, 8, 10 parts, whatever, up before I even get my vitamin D to start. But it's going to take a long ass fucking time for my levels to go from tanked to like higher. So like, I really do feel like that's my problem. Like, I mean, I know it was bad for a while, but like now it's like, oh my God, I just thought I was burnt out and exhausted from like just working and whatever. And now I'm like, no, I really can't. I can never read. We know this, but like, I am muddling up so much more than ever. And it's very subtle, but it's enough of a difference for me to notice and be like, I know I never would have said adequate. Okay. Like, my brain can't process anything right now. Like, it's bad. Like, ugh, good Lord. At least it didn't go from like I was 100% on the ball to like I'm not anywhere near the ball now. It's been a slow progression of like, yeah, I've been slowly falling off the ball, so. It doesn't seem as drastic, I hope, to everybody else, but it feels like it to me because now I'm like focusing more and being like, yeah, I can feel it in my body and my brain. And like, if I force myself to like be out of it, I can function sorta, but like just certain things I'm like, I feel like I can't communicate at work. And I'm like, I think it's me. Maybe it's other people just not having any brain cells. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm like, I feel like it's me. I feel like, because I know I'd be saying something like, I'd be trying to say, the chair, and I would say the cup instead. And they're like, oh, well, that's in it. No, 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 I meant the chair. Because like my brain's mixing up words. And like, it's literally just, but also like whatever those weird issues. For those of you who are new here, I've been having issues for like over a year. I black out randomly. And like, I have these weird I don't even know what they are. I don't know. Vivid visual hallucinations. That sounds like I'm sitting here and I think there's a person standing next to me. This is almost like that, like when you're in a fucking dream or you're having a very intense memory. It's like that. It's like for a split second you were like, I was 100% in this dream or memory or whatever. And then you're like, well, fuck. And I get little like, sometimes those happen where it's very intense and sometimes it's just like a split second where you're like, wait, something's going on. What? Like, they happen more frequently, especially the little things lately. And I'm like, again, it's probably the vitamin D. Because, like, vitamin D is quintessential for your body to function. And so I'm not doing all the great at functioning. I seriously thought it was because, like, I was doing a lot of work last year. A lot of work after work after work after work. It was just constant learning new stuff, so it was like a struggle to kind of like get up to speed. Although I did a damn good job with it, I'm not gonna lie. But then I didn't have a lot of days off. And then I was finally like, cool, it's Christmas. I took 2 weeks off. I was gonna say, but I was with my family. That sounds awful, but it's like, for me, I'm introverted. So I need my alone time to like decompress and like, so going from being at work, even though I had 2 weeks off, I was with people a majority of that time, aside from a couple days in the beginning. Like I was with my family the whole time, and then we came home and my mom was here, and then we went away for New Year's, and then as soon as I came back, I went back to work. So it's like I didn't have time to like, I need some time alone to just do nothing. To then get back into work, and then it's like, hi, you've been here, and here's all the work you have to start doing, and now it's the same thing of like work, 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 and I don't have a chance to breathe. And with my vitamin D being on the floor, it's like, I am not just burnt out. Because, yeah, I feel like I would have been burnt out a little bit. But it's also the fact that I can't function. And I kind of want to cry sometimes. Like, just thinking about it right now, I'm like, I just kind of want to cry. Like, so I really feel like my mood issues, like, is not hormonal. I mean, that's always a problem, to be fair, right? But it's, like, definitely, like, this, because low vitamin D can fuck up your moods too, so I do apologize. It's going to be kind of fucked up for a while. But I feel like anyone that's been here for a while is used to be, for the last year, being like, I'm not good. And now we know, probably, I'm guessing, why I haven't been good for a year, because my vitamin D was tanked last year. So, I get to be on megadose vitamin D for 6 months. You're normally on it for 6 to 8 weeks. I get to be on it for 6 months, which I was. I never went and got my blood tested after that. And then when I had gone back for it, they didn't have it on the test. So, like, It's been too long. But now my vitamin D's back to being on the floor again. To be fair, it was 4.7 and now it's 12.7. So, like, I progressed a little. But again, it shouldn't have, even though it's like, my mom will be like, you don't go outside. And it's like, okay, I was on megadose vitamin D. And even if my levels got to a normal range from like last April to now, like less than a year, let's say roughly a year, my levels should not have tanked again that fast just from not going outside very often. I'll go out to get my mail and stuff like that, like once a week maybe. So I definitely don't go out as much as I used to, but like that's not normal. I don't really think your vitamin D should tank that fucking fast. That's fucked up. So, and I could take a multivitamin, but if it's a problem of me not being able to absorb vitamin D, then like that could be a sign of something else. So like I don't want to know that before I'm just like, and it could just be I just need to be on a supplement for the rest of my life. That's fine. I'd rather just take vitamin D supplements for the rest of my life than be like, my kidneys are failing or some shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, so like, it's going to be the struggle bus for a couple of months now. Oh, for you longer, because it'll, like, this whole entire game is going to be a struggle bus. So let's see if anything happens over the few months we're going to be playing this game between the beginning and then you'll be like, you can read words, good for you. Like, oh dear God. Anyway. Are you feeling all right? You don't need to force yourself to drink it. I also don't know why my voice has been hoarse for the last couple days. Obviously for you, it's been like that for like a week or two because like I'm bulk recording. Huh? Oh, what do you mean by that? What do I mean? Hey, Eve, you're not supposed to chug it all at once. Watch, this is how you enjoy tea. His eyes, that's what it is. Okay, like, listen, I don't love his hair. I think it could be slightly better. It doesn't take away for how goddamn adorably beautiful he is. But his eyes, I'm just saying, if they weren't this goddamn glowing blue color, I think the hair would have ruined it a little more. But those eyes make up for it. They get you extra points because they just glow. They are just ridiculous. Holy shit. Anyway. He does the wink with the hand thing. See, you first enjoy the aroma. Then you take a few sips over some conversation. You drank yours up before it even cooled down. You'd better not have burned inside your mouth or anything. Here, open up and let me take a look. Okay, Mama Hugo. Oh, I'm not gonna let you do anything to me in front of a girl. I can take care of myself just fine. I'm just saying, you're not supposed to gulp down hot tea all at once. It's valid, and his concern is amazing. Look at his face. Oh my god. It's like Eve doesn't know how to function. I need a Hugo in my life teaching me how to like being here to help me function, okay? My mouth hung open slightly from seeing the two of them so lighthearted with each other. Their dynamic is gonna be kind of interesting. Oh, there's hotness. Look at this sexy motherfucker. It's so funny because the proportions on these boys are a little off. And I mean, and then like, you look at Adolph at the top and then he's like, why are your legs so tiny and skinny? And you're like, wait, like, he looks like he should have, like, seriously, okay, wait. Look at this. He looks totally fine. Normal. You kind of, actually, I do feel like your head is slightly too big for your body. Over analyzing, and then you're like, look at your skinny ass little legs. I mean, to be fair, I highly doubt your legs are going to be anything like Amnesia Boys, where that's basically like you're 7 feet tall and 6.5 of that feet is leg. Like, you know what I mean? But it's still, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I like my boys twinkish. Okay, like I've said that we don't, but like, it's just kind of funny. Oh, I love it. I'm not, I know someone might get mad and be like making fun of, I'm not, I love the artwork in this game, but it just, every once in a while you're like, something's a little off with the proportions. Doesn't matter, I still love it, okay? But you just kind of notice it, you're like, something's off. Doesn't matter. I love you to death. whatever. But it is off. What do you think? I'm sure you can tell by now that these two aren't the type to discriminate against you. That must have been why Adolphe asked me. Seeing that the tea I brewed for them was consumed as soon as I served it allowed me to breathe a sigh of relief, and we can't date Hugo. Maybe in the fan disc. Mother brought some sweets to the table for our guests, giving us the opportunity for a formal introduction. Well then, I should introduce myself. I'm Eve. Eve, a young masked man who lives in Coen and works at his business known as Karun, or Karune, whatever. Like Adolphe, he also works as a member of the Corps. I work in Coen under the business name. I'm going to go with Karun, where it's easier to say. Handyman business owned and operated by Eve. Really? They handle anything from fixing houses, tending gardens, watching children, and even cleaning. That is really a list for... That's very handy, men. You know what I mean? Like watching kids? Jesus. He's like, we fix shit, we garden, we might cook for you, babysit a little. Like, Jesus. You like an everything business. I'm the manager of what you'd call a guild of handymen. I also work as a member of the Corps. Oh, and I'm not a reliver. At least not yet. I'm 18 years old, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, so he's younger than us. Because we like 19. Listen, that doesn't bother me. It's when the fact that Mathis is going to be like 16 or some shit. And that's weird. You know what I mean? I only have a problem with age differences when the younger boy character looks like he's 12. Actually, I have a problem with that even if we're like 18 and he's 22 and he looks 12. Doesn't matter. It's the fact that he looks 12. Mathis isn't as bad, I don't think. So far, from what we've seen, he does have the little baby face, but it's not... Sometimes it's like you're too adorable and young and like spunky and like... It's not just that you look like a young kid, you kind of act like one. And it's that mix. And then sometimes it's like, you got the baby face, but it's not too bad. You know what I mean? I don't know where Mathis is quite now. You know, not going to be my favorite just because of the slight baby face, but I don't think he's quite as bad as some other baby face characters we've seen. I don't know, but. And I'm Hugo. I work for Karun in the Corps under my friend Eve here. Really? Wonder if... Hugo, Eve's friend and partner, who works with him at Karun in the Corps. He was originally from Cheetahs, okay, but is now living as a reliver in Coen. I was born and raised in Cheetahs, but now I'm just an old reliver who lives in Coen. Nice to meet you. So you two are the Karun handymen. Have you heard of our business? Yes, even though I've never visited. All I know is that your guild takes care of anything, no matter how difficult. I've also heard from the people of Coen how trustworthy you two are. Not directly, because they don't talk to me, but I hear when I eavesdrop. Huh. I think our reputation's reached even you when you're rarely out in town. I guess that just means we're popular now, and no one came when we first opened shop, and we hardly had any food to eat. Those were the times. I remember how we used to forage for any random plant and find some way to cook them. You're spacey, right? I've heard all about you from Adolphe. Yes. I'm sorry for not introducing myself sooner. Thank you very much for taking care of, working with Adolphe. I gave a respectful nod to Eve as I stammered out my somewhat awkward introduction. Well, that's one way to put it. Well, we in the Corps pretty much help each other out as we work, so you're exactly right. Or a group that spends most of its time keeping the peace in Coen. Well, Adolphe is its leader and is supported by Eve and Hugo. Oh, we got our lovely little man thruple. I like it. I'm here for it. Oh, here we go. And then yes, all of this. Do you see what I'm saying? Actually, Hugo seems like it's Adolphe. Why does he seem slightly not proportioned properly? It could be the jacket. You know what I mean? The jacket giving a broader chest and shoulders. He's got these narrow little hips, but then his head just... Like, you know what I mean? Why does he seem slightly off? Am I I'm crazy. You know what? It doesn't matter. I still think he's gorgeous. But there's something in my brain that is like... You know, if you'd have to tweak a little and you're like, there you go. You know? Is it? Okay. But like, even Hugo looked fine. I don't know what it is. It could just be this pose of his. I don't know. Anyway. Well, I can't deny that. And now that the introductions are out of the way, let's get right to it. They both sat up straight with serious expressions. Last night some deaths occurred in the alleys. We came here to ask you what you saw as the first witness of the incident. The mood in the room became tense. Especially because look at the way they're all looking at me. Hugo's like, I will take you down if you lie to me. Like, he looks very serious and stern. Eve looks slightly, like, he's got his little angry face on. And actually, Adolphe actually looks concerned and sweet. Like, you know, I'm really concerned for you. He looks concerned. I love the little slight changes in facial expressions. Because, you know, sometimes sprites have, like, a couple that they wrote. But these seem like they did a lot of facial expressions for them. Or I'm just crazy. I don't know. Stop biting me. You're being a jerk. Simmer down. To be specific, we're not here as Karun, but rather as member of the Corps. I ordered them to come dressed as Karun so that they could handle the mob more easily. He then took out a notepad and pen from his pocket. Do they normally dress like Adolphe? Because he looks like that's normal clothing. This looks like how they're always dressed. Well, I know it's painful to recall such a tragic event, but if it's not too much to ask, could you please tell us what you remember? This drama pose, I love it. Yes, but I was panicking back then, so it's possible that my memory's lacking in parts. I somehow mustered the strength to nod, as it was about the only thing I could do now. Okay. First. I say that you're being weird, as if that's not, like, 99% of the time. You're just fucking weird. Yeah, I didn't pet you or touch you, but you look like your yawn button got pushed. I told them what led me into the alley and what I saw at the gruesome scene. I brought up every detail I could remember, at times using gestures when words alone couldn't capture the unspeakable elements. I see. So you didn't hear any screaming or sounds of conflict at all? Not as far as I can remember. What brought me there was the sound of dripping blood, which I thought was water. Adolphe looks so fucking over our shit right now. He's like, good fucking God! Okay. Yes, you know, and then this pose, he really does. Oh, you could have given him an ass game. Like, this poor man has no ass. Like, he has got the twinkiest little, like, his legs are like little twigs. Like, it's so... I love him, but it's so funny. They were like, no asses for these. For them, none of them. Which means everyone there was already dead. And the last 2 minutes must have perished. The last 2 must have perished the moment you arrived. Which means that those 2 probably bled out from the gouging. Probably. Meaning the others were killed beforehand. Especially considering that she didn't see the culprit. What do you mean when you say they bled out from the gouging? When we removed the bodies from the scene, we inspected them to get a better understanding of what had happened. The wounds were grouped into 2 types. His, like, okay, I love Adolphe's, like, eyes. I mean, I love Hugo's glowing blue eyes, but Adolphe's eyes are also kind of haunting. Like, there's something about, like, the eyebrows and the look he's giving that's almost like, I feel for you, I'm concerned for you. There's just something about the intensity in that gaze. And then, like, his, like pale gold eyes. Like, I don't know, but I love it. I'm here for it. With a glance, Adolphe had Eve and Hugo continue. We noticed some with their chests carved out, flesh and whole, with a sharp object. We assume they died from the shock and blood loss of their flesh being unnaturally removed, as opposed to your flesh naturally removed? Mutilations! Corpses discovered in the alleys of Coen with their chests carved out by something sharp. Well, I didn't have anything sharp on me, but that's not going to stop people from saying anything. And the others? Others were found with a gaping hole in their chest and a dagger stuck through where their heart was supposed to be. the intensity of his face right now in this is like, and the glow of his eye, like Jason. Okay, Hugo has like spirits within him or some shit. You are some kind of like preternatural being right now. It's like almost, you're like, it's almost very intimidating. Jesus. Not almost, just very. Those people were definitely murdered. Murders! Corpses discovered in the alleys of Coen with large holes in their chests. These cases include a dagger stab through the cavity where the heart once was. Once was. That implies their hearts were removed. Was it Anko? We haven't met him yet, so was it him? Just throwing it out there. Ow. God, your toes. Though the causes of death sounded similar, the slight difference in them unsettled me and made it hard to breathe. There were two people. And the scene was so sickening that I felt like I was going to throw up my dinner. Surprised you only yelled. And the other guys were useless while they were vomiting. Pathetic, if you ask me. I wonder if anyone's eaten it all since then. It wouldn't do to be low on energy now, of all times. Hey, it's normal for stomachs to turn after seeing that. And Eve, that's not the point. The conversation was moving a bit off topic. I know, but like Eve's a little crazy pants, so I kind of like it. I mean, he pets the flowers and tells him he loves them, and he's like, I wonder if anybody else ate. I mean, I'm kind of concerned for them. So, what you're saying is that these people in the alley didn't die because of the curse? Yeah, that's exactly it. And they were all covered in blood. Not one of them had a peaceful death. I'm pretty sure the curse doesn't exactly give you a peaceful death either, but... The other thing they both had in common was that they were attacked in the chest. Since we're a vigilante group not officially authorized to conduct investigations, we're unable to examine the bodies further. So the autopsy and identification processes will be under the control of the Royal Guard. They'll be reconvening with us later. So the Corps isn't... I was thinking that's like the Peace Corps. Like, there's usually like a actually sanctioned... I figured it was like, they were like the Royal Guard or something. Like, they were like the Royal Police. You know what I mean? But they're like, nah, we just people out there. We're a vigilante group. Okay, so they're a bunch of Batmen? Why? Oh, okay. I'm sure they'll tell us. The Royal Guard. My computer just did a weird thing, so I was like worried about my recording software. It seems fine. Strange mood filled the room as soon as the words were spoken. For the time being, we asked for the Undertaker to keep the bodies frozen. If Anko is the fucking Undertaker, then I was not wrong in saying that he's crazy. All I'm saying, he gave me Black Butler from Undertaker from Black Butler vibes. Just seeing the card. There was something about it. I was like, you're giving me these vibes, and I would fucking die if he's the Undertaker in this. My guess is that the Royal Guard will arrive in a few days, so we may as well use this time wisely. Yeah, as long as it's not against the law, we're going to do whatever we can. You're a vigilante group who works within the law? That... Okay. That seems... You're basically Neighborhood Watch, then. Like, I still think Neighborhood Watch would bust some heads if they had to and be like, whatever! They were taking Mary's fucking shit! Broke into Mary's house, and we like Mary, so like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I know this is easy for me to say, but try not to let the other residents bother you. Thanks. I understand. With the questioning over, I finally took in a deep breath. So, Adelphi, what's going to happen to the deceased? As long as their deaths are reported to the Institute, they'll be able to revive as relivers, right? It's hard to say. First, we need to find out who they are. And there were a few I recognized from when I've been out on patrol. If memory serves correctly, they didn't have their memories or their genes backed up. Which means... he's so beautiful right now in this pose. They're officially dead. There's no way for them to revive and clone bodies? And then you wonder if the person murdering them is purposely killing people who aren't relivers. Because to be fair, let's just throw this out there. You have your body, your DNA, and your mind backed up. Okay, you got all this back up. I stab you. Oh, you wouldn't remember the stabbing. But, like, then you relive, right? They put you back in your body, and they're like, so you were murdered. You're like, what? Thank God I don't remember that. And they're like, yeah, but, like, and then they ask you questions. They might be able to figure out, like, put piece clues together by talking to all the people who were murdered and then brought back. No, you're not going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I totally remember who stabbed me. Because you don't have that memory backed up, obviously. You know, it can only go as far as your backup. So if your backup was 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 days ago, whatever, you know, but there could still be clues that you could, like, any information that you have, anything that's been strange in the last, you know, since you last backed, that you can remember. I mean, obviously, it really depends on when you backed yourself up. So if you're like, oh, what? Oh my God, it's 2024? Should I back myself up in 2022? Damn, it's been 2 years. You know what I mean? You're not going to remember anything, but if you backed yourself up 2 days later, you got stabbed, you might remember, yeah, you know, there was this weird person following me the last week. It's bizarre, you know? So that might have nothing to do with it, but I'm just saying. If none of them are relivers, that seems like pertinent, you know? And that seems to be the case. It's horrible. May I add, assuming some of them are able to revive as relivers, and their memories will only go back to the point that their data was stored at the Institute. What did I just say? You don't have to repeat me. Which means that it'll be impossible for them to provide information on what happened at the crime scene. In other words, nothing more could be done. Witnessing someone dying and coming back to life was a daily occurrence for many of us. The pile of mutilated bodies found last night was so outside the norm that everyone was finding it difficult to process. All the teacups on the table were now empty, but the expressions on everyone's faces were far from satisfied. After our conversation, Adolphe and the others decided to collect additional accounts before moving forward. Since the incident happened near the orphanage, they decided to speak with the children to see if anyone had encountered any strange people or events in the area. But see, this would be the thing. You can come back as relivers, and as Salome said, no, you can't. They're not going to know anything. But, so anything, when did the last time you backed yourself up? Oh, okay. This day, that was a week or what. You might have, is there anything weird you noticed, you know, right before you last backed yourself up? You know what I mean? Although, to be fair, if you were planning a mass murder, you'd be like, they all backed themselves up. Only murder the people. They back themselves up. You'd be like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you'd be more cautious about it. Who knows? They split up and began making their way through the facility simultaneously. Knowing his way around, Adolphe disappeared. Mother showed Hugo to another area of the facility while I led Eve elsewhere. Where did he go? I was just showing him around, but now I was standing confused in an empty hallway. The moment I took my eyes off him, the children grabbed him by the arm and sped away. We'd become separated so quickly that I was at a loss. They want to play with him. That's adorable. He seems to be a very kind person, so I can understand why they took a liking to him. He was still our guest and a member of the Corps, so we shouldn't be bothering him while he was here on serious business. As I wondered where he could be, I turned the corner to discover... Hey, mister? How come you have that weird mask on your face? It's not weird, it's pretty. I instantly stopped and gasped at the blunt but innocent question. It's a child. Of course they're going to ask shit like that. You know? A little further down from me was Eve, crouching down to meet the children's eye level. One of the young children was staring straight at his mask with curiosity. I do think it's funny the way they drew it, like it's perfectly aligned with his eye hole, instead of like, you know, the hole of the mask would be a little wider than your eye or something in a way. Like, I knew I should step in and reprimand them for asking a guest something so rude. I had to scold them, but I found myself frozen in place. And I knew why. It was because I had a feeling that I knew the answer. I thought only robbers and bandits wear masks so that no one could see their faces. Well, he's doing a really bad fucking job because it's only on half his face. Are you a bad guy, mister? No, not at all. At least I don't think I am. Then can I take a look at your face? Suddenly the child reached out to him. His tiny fingers grasped the edge of the mask to uncover the mysterious truth beneath. Eve quickly avoided it just in time, standing up and out of reach of the child, holding down the mask with his own hand. As though to avoid another request by the child, Eve began to speak. Well, the truth is that I got hurt on my face a long time ago, and I have a scary scar now. You look so sad and a little upset. That's too scary that I don't want to see it. I don't want you to see it. Some people don't like seeing big scars like mine. And that's why I have this mask on my face, so that I don't scare anyone. Oh. Perhaps disappointed by the answer, the child turned around and walked off without a fuss. Are you a robber or a bandit? What's under there? I have a scar and it's scary. Oh, it's not as exciting. Leaves. Fucking kids. Eve looked on with a troubled smile on his face. He then quickly turned around and, finally noticed me standing here quietly. I walked toward him and bowed my head. I'm sorry. I need to tell him not to be so rude. That can't be helped. Kids that age are naturally curious. I remember asking a lot of questions myself when I was a kid. And by the way, I want to ask you now that I have the opportunity. What is it? Well, last night, right before the incident, were you in the licorice field? I said licorice. Oh, gross! I hate that! Guys, why does it keep happening? Were you in the licorice field? You were in the licorice field, right? Yes. I nodded quietly since there was no point in hiding that fact now. I see. So it was you. I've been wanting to talk to you in private since then. About when we first met long ago. Eve was finally addressing the past that we had both avoided until now. I shared the same sentiment. I had wanted to confirm his identity and apologize for what happened. I'm pretty sure you can tell by now, but, please, not yet. 7 years ago, I was with you in that fire. I still wasn't ready to face that nightmare. A strange, indescribable smell hit me. A sudden odor wafting through stopped Eve from saying anything further. It smells like some kind of medicine. I think it's coming from over there. No. Adolphe! Hugo! Has something happened? Sorry. Don't let it bother you. Just the troublemaker at it again. At the sound of Adolphe's sharp voice, Eve and I tilted our heads at the same time. We're like, the troublemaker? Is it Hugo or one of these stupid kids? Oh, Adolphe looks mad. Hey, Milo, this awful smelling medicine you've spilled on the floor. What exactly is it? Where'd you get it from? This stuff looks like it's from some lab. Definitely not any Cohen commodity. Just shut up! You don't even live here anymore! Does it matter what I have? Oh, but it does. You don't have to tell me where you got it from, but... Honest, why were you trying to sneak this vial into the kitchen? Don't tell me you were planning on mixing this stuff with the food and drink in order to poison someone. It's one thing if he got the medicine because he was trying to help himself, but like poison? Can't hear what they're saying, but they're arguing, right? Yeah, let me go and check. Just as he was about to see what was going on with Adolphe, as if calling out to one's beloved, as if sending out a greeting of joy from reuniting again. What is happening? Spacey! It was the same trigger of that nightmare. The explosion of crimson light flashing. Did we just like black out? You know, girl, I feel that. That's what happens to me. It's not because I'm triggered by a nightmare of a roaring inferno or anything, but like... Okay. Just as he was about to see what was going on, as if calling out to one's beloved, as if sending out a greeting of joy from reuniting again, the end. What the fuck does that mean? You can't just, that's like the middle of a thought. It's like, it's supposed to be like, as if calling out to one's lover. I reached out my hand, but like nothing happened. Like you just put those lines in there and then nothing. Like, is it just me that's fucking weird? Anyway. Oh, Lucas, have you come to pay a visit out of concern? Yes, but when I heard that my dear former student witnessed such a horrific incident, I simply had to come see her. How has she been doing? If necessary, I can always talk to... I smell medicine? Sister Salome, are you conducting some sort of science experiment with the children? No, not at all. After all, I've entrusted all their studies to your good hands. To begin with, we don't have the type of medicinal supplies here to experiment. Oh, was it as if reaching out its hand, something happened with the okay, our curse thing made the medicine explode? Because that's what it sounds like. Maybe that's what it meant. Okay. Well, shit, drama. Oh, fuck. The embers fluttered in the air as the smell of burning stung my nose. No, no! Eve, wake up! Eve was lying on his back, and while I couldn't see any major burns, his body was covered in blood and ash. Did Milo just blow himself up? I desperately pumped his chest with my hands in an effort to save him from death. He can't die this soon, right? But no matter how many times I repeated the process, neither his pulse nor his breathing returned. Spacey, let him go. We've all been trying for half an hour now. Eve is already... No! I won't give up! Well, shit! Eve protected me again from the explosion, and now this isn't fair! Like, fuck him, what the shit? I feel like he's gonna... I think the only problem with this game... Okay. Is, like, there's that instant, like, well, no, I want to be sad, but then, like, he's probably a reliver, so he's gonna come back, so I'm not too concerned. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I think that stops me from, like, feeling really bad. Is, like, he's probably gonna come back, though, like... Because this is just the common route. But, like, it's still like, I didn't really expect you to do this soon, so, like, shit. I was reliving what happened 7 years ago. That's why this time, I need to save him! I'm telling you to stop. And don't hurt Eve's body needlessly. He grabbed my arm and pried me away from Eve's cold body. I slumped down to the floor. Lucas took my place next to Eve and began checking his pulse. A reliver. He can't become a reliver. He doesn't have a backup. Lucas closed his eyes silently. Oh, well, now that changes shit, but you also can't die at the common route. You know what I mean? He seemed to be feeling regret for not arriving sooner to extinguish the fire. Like, we haven't saved it all. Like, you know what I mean? We've only had one choice. I've already contacted the hospital. Their staff should be here any moment. Do you mind if I expose his chest area so they can confirm his death? I'll do it. Please move aside. Adolphe took out his trusted dagger and began to cut through Eve's shirt. His unmoving chest was fully exposed now. Adolphe bit his lip with frustration. He then angrily threw the dagger behind himself. Now, is that the dagger that we're gonna stab ourselves with? You know? Sister Salome and the children have been evacuated. Will you be informing Hugo? Yeah. Not sure how I should break it to him. He was his best friend, the one who took precedence over everything else in the world. Should we be dating Eve if Hugo and Eve have that kind of relationship? I'm just saying. I could hear their conversation, but most of it was cloudy in my mind. The only thing I was certain of was... It's my fault. He meant me. And I cursed him. You've died because I killed him. And it's really because Milo's a twat that had some weird medicine that exploded. But to be fair, Milo had that medicine because he figured you were killing him, so he was going to kill you. So, like, kind of does circle back to us being the harbinger of death, I guess. But still, I mean, this is a long chain of events that led here, so I don't really think we can blame ourselves. But I looked down at the floor as I mumbled. But, okay, to be fair, even if you weren't like the death walking around, you know what I mean? If someone threw themselves in front of you to protect you from an explosion and they died, you'd feel like, they were protecting me, it's my fault. So you'd feel this guilt anyway. Dagger that Adolphe threw behind him was right next to me. This was the dagger she stabbed herself in the neck with. I mean, it could have just been like stock photo that they, obviously stock drawing, but. I grasped its handle and stood up quietly. As Adolphe and Lucas grieved. I walked outside through the crumbled wall. Without a single soul noticing my departure, I slowly made my way to the field of Lycoris. Every once in a while, I want to say it the wrong way. Because my brain's like, you hate that, right? So, I'm really... Oh, who's the other that's narrating now? Okay, because Eva's backed himself up. So it's like he's dead, but he can't possibly be dead in the common route. You know what I'm saying? This is interesting. I want to be more upset about it than I am. But like when it first happened, you're like, wait, no. Well, relive. He's going to be fine. It'll be okay. He'll come back. But Adolphe being like, no, he's not backed himself up. It's like, but he's one of our love interests. So like, I feel like this should be a heavier, sadder moment than it is. But because people can come back, it kind of takes some of that weight off of it when they die. You're like, well, actually, they're gonna come back, so it's probably okay. I'm not saying that, but the game's starting off like this. It's like, well, God damn it. Again, right now I'm like, I can handle this. It's okay. We're fine. For now, it's gonna get so much worse. The game's like, yeah, hold my beer. Jesus. But anyway, I'll stop here, and we will continue next time. So, we'll see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.